In the ancient kingdom of Eldoria, nestled between radiant mountains and lush forest, a young prince named Alaric sat upon the throne. Having grown up in the shadow of his father, a revered king known for his wisdom and strength, Alaric felt the heavy weight of expectation upon his shoulders. He was neither a soldier nor an orator. He was a thinker, an observer, and his heart pulsed with a deep-seated fear. What if he was unworthy of the power entrusted to him? The day had come for Alaric's coronation. As he donned the ornate crown crafted from gold and adorned with emeralds, a sense of awe and anxiety pierced his youthful spirit. The hall was filled with noblemen, richly robed and decorated, each whispering among themselves about what kind of ruler this prince would be. Alaric felt their gazes, waiting, watching. After the ceremony, the weight of responsibility sunk in further. The council of advisers gathered around him, eager to influence the new king. To keep the peace, they advised, one must be ruthless. They spoke of methods to suppress dissent, of enforcing laws with an iron fist. This was the precedent set by his father, a strong leader whose strength had kept the kingdom united, but had also created divisions in its heart. Alaric listened carefully, yet deep inside a rebellion stirred within him. He remembered tales told by the village elders about how his father had once sought counsel from the common folk, gathering wisdom from the fields, not just from the banners of nobility. Inspired by this vision, Alaric made a choice that would shape his reign. Instead of imposing harsh decrees, Alaric decided to journey through Eldoria. He donned a simple cloak and rode his horse into the market square of the capital. This was not the behavior expected of a king, but it was a step toward understanding his people. Slowly, as he visited villages and towns, he listened to their stories, the struggles of farmers, the dreams of craftsmen, and the laughter of children weaving through humble homes. One day, in a small village, he met a woman named Lyra, a healer who had dedicated her life to helping those afflicted by plagues that swept through the kingdom. She spoke of her fears that the royal treasury would never support the village's simple needs because it prioritized feasting and wars over health and well-being. Alaric was moved. He realized that to wield power responsibly meant to offer support and gather knowledge, not to fear the people, but to empower them. As seasons passed, the people of Eldoria began to feel the changes. Alaric established councils comprised of representatives from all walks of life, allowing voices long silenced to rise. He allocated funds to healers, schools, and farmers, fostering an environment where creativity and compassion flourished. With each decision, he looked beyond the crown and sought what could uplift the collective spirit of his kingdom. But with power came criticism. There were those who had thrived under oppressive rule, and they plotted against the young king, eager to exploit his every misstep. Alaric learned quickly that the measure of a man wasn't only how he rose to the challenge, but how he withstood the temptations of power itself. These challenges came to a head during an uprising led by a former nobleman, bent on reclaiming authority through tyranny. In the face of conflict, Alaric summoned all he had learned. Instead of meeting hostility with hostility, he opened his gates, inviting the nobleman to speak. "Let us find a way that doesn't need bloodshed. Let us discuss what is best for all," he urged, his voice steady and calm. Struck by Alaric's courage to invite dialogue rather than instill fear, many nobles began to turn their backs on the insurrection, realizing that unity, compassion, and strategy outweighed the allure of power through violence. Eventually, the nobleman retreated, disheartened and defeated. Alaric emerged not merely as a king who wielded power, but as one who transformed it through understanding and empathy. He had turned skepticism into trust, fear into courage, and power into a force of good. Years later, when asked how he measured his success as king, Alaric smiled and reflected upon the weight of the crown he had worn. "The true measure of a man," he said, "is not in the power he possesses, but in what he does with it, in the lives touched, the hearts shaped, and the community built. It is in uplifting others that we find our own worth." In Eldoria, under the reign of Alaric, the people learned that a crown could shine not just with gold, but with the light of unity and love. And so, the kingdom thrived, full of stories, dreams, and the spirit of a man who had chosen to wield his power wisely.